from day one for their commitment and their effort towards instilling and really practicing a culture and a way of doing things that's very demanding, and at the same time very proud of the way they've handled the workload, and now leading up to game one to put it all together in front of our fans, in front of our community, in front of our families, and go out there and do our best to play our best football and get the 2022 season rolling. Obviously, we still have several position battles going on, more so on defense than on offense. On the offense, there's a lot more clarity as to who will open up the game as a starter. On defense, we have multiple positions that still require a couple more days of figuring it out and assessing to see who goes out on the field first, but we have multiple co-starters on defense. So that being said, open to questions.
Mario, how would you kind of assess where the receiving core is at this point?
Well, really pleased with the last 4 days of practice. You know, I know it almost sounded like a broken record from spring all the way through fall camp, where we're looking for more consistency. That word kept popping up, consistency, because there were flashes, but just not on a consistent basis. Well, as we installed everything and then some, and as we pared things down and started getting more reps with the same group of guys working together, we saw more production, we saw more reliability, more consistency, again, that word, and felt really confident leaving practice on Saturday, which was very much like what a game flow would be like, and then yesterday's practice as well. So we feel like we've gained ground, we've made progress, and we think our best days are still ahead of us, so we're still going to keep grinding on it.
And one quick follow, not just related to receivers,
No.
and certainly with no disrespect to Bethune, but is week one a week where you're hoping to see twos, maybe even some threes?
Oh, that'd be complete disrespect to any opponent, and I would never speak that way about anybody. Bethune is a good football team with good football coaches, and all we're looking for is to play our very best football.
Hey Mario, I know everything's a closely guarded secret, but you did mention there's a few position battles open on defense. Can you at least tell us what positions those are?
Well, we're a little bit more thick. We're a little bit more thick at the defensive line, right? Where those battles have been going back and forth the entire camp. There's a couple at the O-line position. There's more clarity at some of the others. In the secondary, we feel we have multiple guys that can play winning football. And really competitive battles where no one is back down, which is really encouraging to make your team really good. You want to see that happen, for that to be a reality. So all in all, what we feel is that, by midweek, we should have some more clarity, but when you have positions where multiple guys are going to play, you just let it ride, and our guys know. I mean, there's no mind tricks or whatnot. Our guys know who's going to play. That practice tape never tells a lie. Guys that have done it well, have earned playing time, they're going to play. Those that haven't, we're going to keep working with them until they're ready enough to play.
Coach, at ECC Media Days, you emphasized how discipline was going to be a big part of camp, and it seems like you had reps out at every practice. I guess, how do you feel like the team has done with limiting the silly penalties?
I think we've improved. The most important part now, when the lights are on, whether they're on or not. I know it's an earlier game, but come game time, like those choices and decisions in critical times, what's going to show? Are we going to go forward with what we've done, what we've learned, and how we've grown, or are we going to revert to some habits that we want to get rid of? That's what's the big question out there. We've worked it enough, we've preached it enough, now it's got to show. And I feel confident that with the steps that we've taken and the way that we've actually, we've created situations where adversity does hit them and they have to respond with a good competitive response. We feel that the progress shown in practice should show up on game.
How confident do you feel in the running back room with the depth being tested recently?
Feel confident enough that we're going to play winning football.
What about quarterbacking Tyler Van Dyke? What do you think he's improved most throughout camp, and how's he embracing a new offense?
I think every part of his game. Tyler is a student of the game. So when you're a quarterback, you really can't ignore any facet of what you do and how you do it. And when you're a guy with the spotlights on you, like it is on him, your leadership role continues to increase, right? People want to hear you more. People want to see you get out in front and make things go a certain way, create momentum, by the way you play, but also by the way you address your teammates, the way you form that camaraderie that certainly gets you past the tough moments. His accuracy has been outstanding, decision making, pocket presence, his ability to run the football as well is something that is very underrated that we're certainly very impressed with. All in all, just continues to grow as a great player and a great quarterback.
Mario, Will Mallory, I know he's been limited somewhat as far as contact. He's an important part of the offense, obviously. What's his status for Saturday?
Yeah, Will's going to be full go. It'll be on a conditioning-based rep count. You know, always safety first with our players. With Will, he's been clear. He's been practicing full speed, and we've been ramping him up. So our return to play specialist has done a great job with him. Will's an unbelievable competitor. You know that. I mean, you couldn't find a guy that carries more respect than Will Mallory does, by the way he carries himself, by the way he plays, and then by what he does off the field. I mean, he's a complete, like, the epitome of a student athlete and a team leader. So he's anxious. He'd like to, you know, I mean, he'll tell you he's in condition to take 120 plays, but he's getting real close. But he is cleared to play, and certainly we're looking forward to seeing him on Saturday.
Mario, I guess the reports that you guys added a walk-on running back, Lucius Stanley from UAB. Can you talk about him a little bit?
I don't know if I can. What I'm cleared to, I certainly would be glad to speak about anybody. I had not, kind of been busy the last, 7 months, 8 months, and it goes from 1 minute, 1 second to another. But as soon as I get clarity on who I can speak about, I'll be glad to get any information to you.
Coach, where are you at with your kick and return game? Kick return and punt return, do you have a certain guys or a group at least that you can speak on?
We have a group. I tell you, guys that have popped, obviously Xavier Restrepo has done it, and Tyreek has done it. Malik Curtis has really popped as a guy back there. So you look for a bunch of different things. Number one, who can secure the ball, right? Who can make good decisions? Because if a guy has all the wiggle in the world to make a miss ability, but he doesn't make good decisions or can't secure the football, none of that matters. All three guys have shown a ton of progress and reliability. We have confidence in all three, and we'll figure it out this week.
You mentioned that you've been busy for 7 or 8 months.
Something like that.
Something like that. I know that you never want this to be about you, but your first game back and all that. I know you cringe at the notion of any of this, but this week being a game week, it's going to be a big deal when people phone you, big deal for your friends, big deal for people that want to see you here for a long time. How do you minimize the distraction of game week and just focus on what you have to do and try to keep this going?
Oh, I think I'm like the smallest part of this thing, as small as it could be. It's about everything else. It's about making sure that I'm doing all the things to make sure our players, our coaches, our administrators, our recruiting department, development department, you name it, our analyst GAs, everybody can do their job at the maximum level as we put together this game plan, which is already in place, and we practice for a couple days so we can operate at a really high level and always give the best players the best chance to be successful. And making sure that, all these processes we went through, getting on those lifts, simulating game day, the heat of Green Tree practice field, all these things, now all that hard work has to, it was intentional doing it, right? Our purpose-driven practices were special. Now I have to make sure that I do my job and stay in my job and make sure that we get to game day and work to the game, work through the game and beyond, so we could, again, have the best chance to always come out, 1-0. So, I'm simple and boring, so you don't have to worry about me getting caught up in anything.
Coach, did anybody ask you for tickets or stuff like that? Your friends and family that are here, are they ready to?
I mean, you're killing me right now. I'm gonna get another 200 requests when this question comes out. Yeah, they did, and I gave them the front office number so they can call and purchase them, except for a couple of family members, of course.
Is there anything special that you do on actual game day?
Keep preparing. Work all the way through the game. I mean, we never stray from we're very process oriented. It's just the way we've always been trained, and we feel that it keeps us, again, even keeled. It keeps us where our feet are. That's what's most important. The moment you start letting this thing drift a little bit and think about, whoa, all these people are gonna be there, there's gonna be family there, what does that do with winning the game? Really nothing. So it's important that our team, our staff, everybody just continues to be internally driven, right? And is able to block out any and all exterior noise, distraction, right? That's how we're gonna become a very good football team. Most of our work has to be done between the ears with our group, and we've been at it nonstop to make that a reality. Every guest speaker has been somehow geared towards making sure that we understand the importance of what transpires between the ears usually translates into your game performance.
How different is a week one game plan for you in that there's so much mystery? I mean, you can look
Yep.
at tendencies of last year and stuff from your opponent, and
That's right.
it's all guesswork. How difficult is really putting together something
Yeah.
week one?
No, it's a great question because who knows what's gonna show up out there, right? I mean, you're getting tendencies as well. They're getting the same analytical reports on you and what you've done and where you've been. So, and they're reading every press conference or whatnot. That's why some questions and some answers are a little bit more guarded than others, because you have to still make sure that you give your team the best chance. So you have to prepare for what you've seen, but you also have to have enough to have an answer and some counters when it doesn't quite show up like you thought it was gonna show up. And then legitimate answers to give your players a great chance. So week ones across the country for generations, right, have always had surprises here and there. And usually it's due to lack of preparation. Well, lack of preparation will never be an issue here. We just have to make sure that we clearly understand that every team we play has really good football players, and nothing but your very best is ever gonna be good enough. So we've been really diving into, Bethune-Cookman now for, I don't know, since last Wednesday. And our guys are really excited at the opportunity to come out and play our best football.
Mario, obviously Tyreek's a pretty solid presence on one side of the field at cornerback. Who have you seen who's impressed you on the other side of the field, between guys like DJ Ivy, Darryl Porter, and all that group?
Well, you mentioned a couple of those guys, right there. I should bring out the depth chart so I don't miss anybody, but DJ Ivy, we've mentioned him since the springtime, and he really has been an unbelievable presence. Has been a great performer, has been a great team leader as well. He does a lot. He's been here for a long, long time, local guy, and he has commanded the respect of his teammates, for how he does things and the way he has performed. You mentioned Darryl has done really well. Isaiah Dunston's done really well. Malik Curtis has taken a tremendous step as well. Not only as a returner, we mentioned him returning kicks and punts or whatnot, but also as a corner. The young guys are coming along. Kamari's come along, even though he's coming off an injury, but he's progressed really well and shows a lot of promise. So we feel really good about the secondary.
You mentioned the offensive side is pretty much the starters are set. What about the offensive line?
Well, I said there's less. There are less. There's a little bit more clarity. Is the best way to put that.
But what about the offensive line? Can you tell us? Obviously, that was an area where you moved guys around a lot.
And we're still going to do that this week. It's not fair. Look, if it was fair and it was clear as day, you'd be handed something today. There's no head fakes on this side. I don't believe in it. When we speak here and we get a chance to address the media, it's a privilege. It's also an extension of a team meeting. There's nothing that I'm ever going to mention here that's not mentioned and emphasized in our team meeting. These battles, some of them are still going on. And our players and our program deserve that respect for me to continue to assess and let those guys go on a Tuesday and Wednesday giving their best, so we could really put our best guys and our best performers on the field in the way that they deserve to be.
Sorry, Mary. Just about Zion, last time we talked to you, he had not practiced when we asked you in full.
Right.
Wondering if he's had a full practice yet, and then the other thing I wanted to ask you was about, I know freshmen get nerves, the opening game, I guess upperclassmen get nerves too, but are you the one that kind of talks to them, whatever, or do you have their teammates talk to them, the veterans? Before the first game, it's a little nerve-wracking for them. Any advice you give them, or what can you tell them?
Well, I don't know if it's nerve-wracking as it is a matter of anxiety. Guys going out there and but we make it real clear. A wise man once told me, before you go out there, throw caution to the wind, right? What's going to show up. Your practice and preparation is your game reality. And so we spend the entire week not only preparing and grinding and pushing and challenging, but we also build confidence. Confidence in players in front of their teammates, so their teammates have confidence in them as well, right? And so the combination of that, the combination of legitimate one-on-one conversations with their coaches, with their teammates, how we address ourselves as a team, and then playing the guys that deserve to play, right? Really, it brings confidence to the table, right? What you don't ever want to do is play guys that don't deserve it or don't earn it. That's how you shatter a team's confidence, all right? Always honest, transparent, which is boring sometimes, but it is the best way, in our opinion, always to do things with our team. And we believe that, you know, as we get closer and closer to game time, they're gonna realize more and more and more that the way that we practice should always be as difficult or more difficult than when we play a game. That's always been the secret sauce to Miami. It wasn't some mythical potion or, you know, a wish. It's always been about what was done on that practice field. Well, we've done that. We've brought you know, that aspect back to our program, which is something that we feel very confident in and looking forward to.
And
paying off.
the Zion Nelson, has he practiced?
He has practiced. He has practiced. His actual rep count on Saturday will still be, it's yet to be determined.
It sounds like he's gonna play, I'm not trying to.
It's yet to be determined.
Okay.
Coach, with Zion, when he comes back.
Yes, sir.
I guess you always have the option of moving John over to right tackle, moving Scaife to guard, without asking you to reveal if you're going to do that. Is that at least a consideration, or do you have other alternatives in mind that you might like better?
Well, I think you're asking me to reveal. That's number one. Okay.
Just if it's a consideration, serious consideration.
No, Barry, what we do is we cross-train everybody, you know, so everything's always on the table. You never know what it's gonna look like. I mean, God forbid you go out there and then after series 1 or 2, you're nicked up and guys have to move, right? And someone's always gotta snap the ball reliably. So you have to cross-train guys there as well, okay? So what does that require? That requires intensive individual work so that techniques and fundamentals have overlap from position to position to position. That way when a guy moves from tackle to guard, his backside slip on a wide zone play should mirror his backside slip with a tight end on a wide zone play at one position versus the other, okay? You know, Don, you played offensive line, you know how critical all that technical work is. The center's the one that is significantly different because of a ball in his hands, and the tackles are very different because of the timing and spacing of edge rushers, particularly on third down, right? A lot of the other stuff has a lot of overlap, so it allows us to cross-train. I know it's a long answer to a short question, but we have worked multiple combinations. It'd be too extensive to even get into, but let's just say that we feel confident and hopefully by the end of the week, maybe even a couple of more, but we feel confident that we have prepared 8 guys that can play winning football, and we're close to getting to 10 that can play winning football, all right? So, but those combinations are pretty extensive.
Coach, do you have any players that won't be available Saturday because of disciplinary reasons?
We'll find out soon. You know, we'll get that to you as well.
And then, just a quick follow-up, the number 1 jersey, you spoke about that early in fall camp, did anyone earn that?
No, sir. But you know, to that question, I want to say this. I think guys would have performed well enough and have practiced well enough and have done things the right way where they could potentially wear number 1, but no one has asked for it since it was addressed, so we just let it be. It's not a matter of, hey, no one earned number 1. There are plenty of guys that practiced hard enough and did well enough to earn the right, you know, to wear a jersey with that magnitude, but no one has asked for it, so we're letting it be.
I was just wondering if, you know, the player-led issue, right?
Right.
Do you already sense that you know this can be a player-led team, or do you not find that out until game 1, 2, 3, something like that?
I don't think you ever find out till you start playing games. And I don't think you find out until you start playing games that bring a lot of adversity to it. So, you know, you want to find out right away. You want to learn about your team throughout the course of the week. This week, you know what we want to see? We want to see maturity. And we want to see urgency, right? We want to see a team that takes practice as seriously as a game. We want to see a team that when it goes to the hotel, immediately goes up to their room like we have structured, gets in there, starts putting on their Normatec boots and start watching more film, getting into their tips and reminders, going over their tests, right? As opposed to, you know, getting on a game system, which we're not going to do, you know, as opposed to just wasting time and brain space. We want to see a team that when we come off for pregame, certain portions of pregame, certain portions of it should look just like a game. The offensive and defensive line, when they rip off the ball, it should look like a live one-on-one rep, right? We want to see urgency, right? Getting to class early, making sure, man, my bag is packed with my stacks. I got my schedule. I know when my tutors are going to be. I'm not going to miss anything, so I could compete fast and free in the classroom and be on top of my assignments, and that I could compete fast and free on Saturday because I have practiced in a disciplined manner. I have lived a disciplined life. I have created elite habits, and now they got to show, you know? So we want to see that. We want to see, and you mentioned about a player-led. Player-led is all about ownership. And that is the next step for our team. We want to see real deal ownership, right? Accountability. Players holding other players accountable, right? If a player's on the edge, he's about to get a flag because things are they're going past the whistle, there's got to be a guy to be able to grab and pull him back and say, we're not doing that. That's not the way we do things here at Miami. So yeah, that's when a team takes that step, it's different. And that step can be taken in the off season to an extent, but now it's live, and we're certainly looking forward to seeing that.
Mario, where is the team in terms of being able to play fast versus not playing hairy? That difference between just being fast but also being controlled but playing fast. Where are they?
Well, I think we're ready for game one. You know, I do. I think that you know, we've installed at an ungodly rate now. I mean, everything, which is, it's a little bit chaotic at times because you have multiple things going against multiple things, and usually that brings, you know, multiple issues, right? You know, exponentially. But then as you start paring down, you realize, whoa, you know, he's seen this particular play against cross splits, nickel fire, corner fire, you know, corner will, all that stuff, and you realize these guys have developed, you know, almost like a sixth sense of understanding timing, spacing, alignments, right? Things that tip you off. So now the game slows down for you a little bit, and that's what we're seeing. So we have seen and we have felt ourselves not only increase, you know, our discipline, but also our ability to play fast. The only way to do that is to know what you're doing, how you're doing it, and why we're doing it that way. So we always preach and stress that, what to do, how to do it, and why we're doing it that way.
Mario, do coaches, I just thought of this, do coaches get rusty too, as far as game day? Like how long in your experience as a head coach does it take to get in the groove of the actual calling, decision-making, you know?
No, that's a really good question. I think they get rusty in the process of keeping off the field, right? You've seen in practice how many times, you know, it's almost a WWE match with myself and the coaches. They get off the field, man. You know, you're going to be out there, you know, helping the guy out throughout the course of the game. I just think the process is, that's why we're always wearing headsets. You know, we're simulating game-like scenarios, and that's why a lot of times during practice I'll blow a horn and say, hey, first and goal at the 1, and coach has got to scramble to grab a headset, send in a personnel group, count 11, make sure we got the right guys in the game and make a call. Well, no, you didn't score, it's a penalty, bring it back. You know, we create enough adversity in practice and scenarios to test our coaches as much as we test our players. We don't want to live on a script when it comes to practice. I don't think that helps a coach completely. Of course you have to work certain things, you know, in certain parts of the field, in certain situations as well. Situational football, right? You know, having a high football IQ and situational football reigns supreme, right? College or the NFL. But you also want to have the ability to put the ball down and on the spot have your coaches react and respond, because that's going to happen at some point in time.
Mario, do you have, sorry, do you have like a clock management coach or somebody who's kind of helping you with that as the game's going on, and reminding you know, going for 2, all those kind of scenarios? Is there anybody that is kind of in charge of that with you?
Right, we always have a 2-point chart, you know, a 4-minute, 2-minute, you know, kill the clock chart. We have all that kind of stuff ready to roll, you know, even if there's a hint of that scenario coming up. So I know a lot of people get into analytics and whatnot, and you know, we have used it before in terms of the data, not always use it in terms of decision making. You know, every team is different, every situation is different, and when you're on the field, you really want to look for your matchups, right? Do you feel your matchup could win on this player, or do you feel you're at a disadvantage and maybe you got to opt for plan B as opposed to plan A? So, but I feel that we're pretty airtight as it relates to all those processes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, game 1. Appreciate